And now, to honor America, please join in the singing of our national anthem. Representing the three-time Stanley Cup champion New Jersey Devils, Arlette.
I feel like I'm at a game. Oh my gosh. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glow, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Happy Devils Sunday. This is the Let's Go Devils podcast, season 5, episode 32, titled 2022 NHL Combines 96 Prospects. Streaming live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter Live, and Twitch on the Primetime Radio Network. I'm your host, Sam Wu, here with Shorts Guy and Beer Baron, the original 3. Scotty's out on assignment. Yeah.
Yeah, Sam, not to interrupt you, but I wish you would have made this NHL Combines. They got 96 prospects, but a bitch ain't one. Hey, I'll be here all night. Thank you very much. So. Continue, good sir.
All eyes are on Shorts Guy right now. You got something to say?
After that,
Rangers suck. Just the Rangers
hey,
suck.
Wait. Can I ask
lost.
Hey, can I ask you a question? Did you see the play where Stirkin looked like somebody sniped him from up in the bell tower? Did you see that? How he Perry like tapped him in the mask with his stick, and he goes and like throws his stick in the air, and he did it again. Yeah,
he did it
I'll
again.
send it to you right now. Hold on, I'm gonna send it.
Oh, please!
Chat.
I want to see this because he's
so
and when he dropped to the ground like he was shot the first time against the Penguins, when I was playing hockey that next Friday, a friend of mine, one of the guys from I think it was Little Steve from Hockey Untapped, bumped me accidentally, and I very dramatically fell to the floor and just threw all my stuff everywhere. And I was like, I'm pulling a Stirkin, and everyone got a good laugh, except the Ranger fans.
Now it's a real thing. So I sent it to you so you can watch it, but now it's like a continuous thing. It's like, you do it once, okay. Like I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to draw a penalty, but
yeah,
it's a little much. I didn't watch the game today, and so I'm wondering if he got maybe somebody out there on Facebook. By the way, thank you for watching us on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube, and your mom's house, all these other different platforms that we're on.
Yeah.
maybe somebody out there that watched the game can tell me if he got a diving penalty for that, because if he's not getting a diving penalty for this, right? Look at how he almost throws his stick over the boards. Like, that's how dramatic he got with that.
Let me see this.
He does.
Like,
Perry
it's
does,
okay. So,
and Perry's a dirty player, but he barely taps him.
It sucks getting hit in the cage like that. You know, when you're not expecting it. I will do that, but he hardly hits him. Like you can be shocked, but to throw your stick like that and hold your face holy crap.
I'll try to bring that clip up. Give me 1 sec.
Don't get in trouble, Sam. Don't get in trouble.
No. I have
Oh my God.
I know how to bend the rules here.
Holy crap.
So yeah, so
I'm gonna have to do that on Friday now too.
Get real dramatic. As long as you can do it safely, like rip your helmet off.
I can.
If you have a ketchup packet or two, do the old Chris Farley.
No, because that'll be all over the floor. Then I gotta clean it up.
No, I know. I'm kidding.
All right, I can bring it up.
Broke my
guys.
nose. Okay.
I think I can bring it up. Give me 1 sec.
All right.
Let's see here. So we're gonna go on their Twitter account. We'll blame Twitter. Okay. All right. See if you could see that right there.
On the bottom.
Whoa,
my face is broken. And any Ranger fan that's out there, it's like, yo, you guys are just jealous because we're in this, the Eastern Conference Finals. I'd be like, yeah, no kidding, dummy. Like,
yeah, we are.
Obviously, we are.
That's a backwards dive.
Obviously, we're petty. Obviously, we don't care. All right, stop saying it. Otherwise, you're gonna get in trouble.
Sammy.
And then boom. What's that?
Hey, Sammy, if you have time, can you pop on the Hockey on Tap tomorrow and just play that?
The entire
time. No warning.
Probably.
No warning.
You know what? I should just put that on the top right-hand corner of the video screen, just on replaying, just replaying, just like that.
Oh yeah,
I should just do
it. Make it so Billy Dean can't turn it off.
Yeah, or just put it over, on his screen the entire time as he's talking.
Please do something, Sam, because it would be hysterical tomorrow.
But it's on Twitter.
Man.
It's on Twitter.
Yeah, it's on Twitter. It's free to the world. Oh man, I was so happy when I saw. I was out. I was doing a combination of driving home from the shore, and then I went out to dinner with my parents right afterwards. So I didn't really have access to my phone, and something came up. And immediately just texted into a group that I'm in with the Hockey and Tap guys going, what the hell was the score? And they said 3-2 Tampa. And I was like, thank you.
Yeah. At one point, it was 2-0 Rangers. And I was like, they're going to really run away with the series, aren't they? And then they're going to have all sorts of crazy confidence. And they're going to go into the Cup and they're going to steamroll the Avs. I'm like,
the Avs are steamrolling. The Avs are steamrolling the Oilers.
Dominating the Oilers. But, I mean, I'll tell you this much. So, like, a part of me, as a Devils fan, accepted the fate of, like, listen, if the Rangers win the Cup this year, like, I'm not going to be pissed off about it. I'm too old to be getting angry about another team winning. Like, I lived through it with the Eagles.
I'm not.
I lived through it with the Eagles. I lived through it with many different teams and many different sports, the Red Sox and baseball. And then I sat back and I went, but out of every team that I loathe and hate, in any sport, I hate the Rangers far beyond anybody else. So of course I'm going to be pissed off about it. Of course I'm going to be bitter about it. And then I'm dreading even going to any game next year where there's going to be a guy wearing blue walking around. We'll be playing Anaheim, and here comes a dude wearing a Rangers jersey because he can't afford to go to MSG, so he'll conveniently show up at the Rock because it's hockey and he wants to watch hockey. You know what? Eat a bag of whatever. So my thing is, it's going to be annoying next year, and we have to be prepared for it because they're in the Eastern Conference Finals. It's going to be like, well, Capo, blah, 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 blah. How many goals did Jack Hughes have in the playoffs? Yuck, 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 yuck. So all these stupid things that you're going to hear. Igor's like the next king of the thing. Boom. Like they're already preloaded in these single-celled brains of half these morons that wear a Rangers jersey. So all the Devil fans, just be prepared. And if they do win the Cup for whatever reason, just look at them and say, okay, we still have 3 more. Or we still have 3 in our lifetime, and you only have 2, or however you want to justify it. But
you know what?
Just be prepared.
That would that would give the in our lifetimes. Yeah, no, but I was gonna say I think that would only give them 5, where we have 3. But they had a much longer head start to get more than the initial 3 that they had.
They only had 6 teams in the league. You can't beat 5 other guys. Come on.
Oh, from 1926 until, what was that, 1967 with the first expansion? That you're telling me they couldn't win it anytime after 1940?
Toronto hasn't won it since the expansion.
But Toronto's won it a handful. Toronto's at least won it a bunch of times. The Rangers had all those chances, and they couldn't win it more than twice, 3 times, whatever it is.
God, it sucks.
Yeah.
Come on, Pittsburgh. I'm still pissed off at Pittsburgh because they had the whole series in their hands, and then Trouba kills Crosby.
Well, that's
Louis
the league.
Domingue.
That's the league.
I know.
Look at the league for not doing anything. Hey, the league finally stood up and they gave what's his name a suspension today.
Evander Kane.
Yeah, Kane. Thank you. It was completely escaping me.
And all they did was piss off Kadri, and he's going to come back and score a hat trick. So.
Yeah.
They just sealed their fate.
No, he's out. He's out for the series.
He's out for the rest of the series?
That's what they said.
Holy cow.
Yeah, that's not good. That's not a good trade.
Good. Nope.
All right, I'm gonna reel you guys in. We got to get to the topic.
All right.
NHL Combine. Catherine Bogart from the Devils said that the New Jersey Devils ended up inviting 8 players to come out to New Jersey this weekend. Of that group, 4 are able to come in, while the other 4 are unable to attend due to schedule conflicts or previous commitments. A few of those will come to New Jersey later in the month. Also, Beer Baron, you sent that tweet to us that 2 of the players have been praising the Devils, Slavkovsky and Wright. I mean, what are you supposed to do when you're a prospect? Trash the team? I mean, only Eric Lacrosse.
Well,
those. Yeah, I mean, of course they're going to praise the team. It's like.
Yeah.
But think about the hell of these guys. These guys are at the top of their. They are at the top of their class currently. They're at their age group. They're the best players in the world. Whatever. So think about this. So the first 5 that are going to get picked, and those first 5 are going to go from being the top of their age group, top of the class, to being on the 5 worst teams in the league.
Yeah.
Like talk about just it. That's one of the downsides of the draft system is these top talents wind up going into worse teams, and a lot of times, sometimes these teams can turn it around. But I mean, look how long it's taken Edmonton to do anything. Look how long it's taking us to do anything. So it's like some of these guys, they're top prospects, but then they kind of just get on real tough spots with real bad teams. So kind of feel for these guys. And this is not to be negative about us, but these guys are of course they're going to praise the Devils. Like, they're looking to get a payday right now. They're looking to get drafted and they want a payday. So of course they're going to praise the Devils, and if they legitimately mean it, then that's great, that's fantastic. But you can only go so far with what they're saying about right now, because obviously they want to be, if they're not going to be number 1, they want to be number 2. They want to be up there. They don't want to get lost in the rest of it.
You know what's funny is I find the Devils to be in the same situation. Obviously, pick-wise, they are in the same situation that the Philadelphia Flyers were in with the Nico Hischier, Nolan Patrick draft, where
big time.
It feels the same thing that happened to Nolan Patrick is happening to Shane Wright, where everybody was expecting him to be the unanimous number one. And here comes, Slafkovsky, and he's looking like he's overtaking that spot. And I think the Devils are in a good place because now you have, you can't really, hopefully you can't go wrong because look at what happened to Nolan Patrick, and that sucks.
Nolan Patrick came in with injury issues.
He definitely did 100%, yeah.
And those injury issues have derailed his entire career to this point. So that's what really sunk him from being the potential number one to being the number two.
Oh, shorts guy. The feed.
It's a far.
There he is.
He's back.
Hey, I'm back. Yeah, it's a far cry. The Heischer Nolan Patrick thing is a far cry from the Hughes Kako 1-2. Because Nolan Patrick just can't stay relevant. He can't stay healthy.
Yeah, and honestly, I feel like the Devils are in a great spot, and there's this. What makes this fun about the combine is all the interviews and things like that, and they show you bits and pieces. If you follow any of the teams on social media, you can see some of the interviews, and I think it was, God, I can't remember who said it. I don't know if this could have been, and by the way, my brain is fried. It could have been an NFL combine thing, or it could be an NHL combine thing. In the interview process, I remember hearing somewhere where some of the questions that they ask are very basic, but there's a reason why you ask a very basic question, because an answer can tell a lot about a player. You could see the very rehearsed kids that come in that have the perfect answer for every single question. You have the kids that, kind of tip their hand to how their personality actually is. And you're getting answers like, what's your favorite meal before a game? And that sounds like a throwaway question, but the process that these kids have to go through, and the training staff, and they have psychologists sitting on the team, on the draft team, that will analyze an answer to that question. I think it's so crazy. And you got to think about these top kids that are going through tons of different interviews, at 18 years old, hey, what would you do if you were, and who knows, there might be, harder hitting questions. What would you do if you were found with a dead body? And, now they have to answer that question on the spot. But in all seriousness, I think it's really cool to see what they're going through. And I just think that this year that the Devils are in a really good spot to get a really special player. Because I think if they get Shane Wright, you have three solid centers, that you can have interchangeable lines, 1, 2, 3 going up and down the ice. It's amazing. I know everybody wants a winger, but
as long as all three of those centers, can stay healthy.
On Cooley.
Yeah, it's true. Or
You've
Cooley.
Been all in on Cooley.
I tell you what, watch Montreal draft Cooley, and then the Devils are like, "Oh, what do we do?"
No,
would you trade? Would you jump back? Would you jump back and give? Who has 3? Is it the Coyotes have 3?
I think so. Yeah.
Would you move back one spot, take their 3 and a potential top prospect, to let them have their pick between Slafkovsky and Wright?
I'd rather make that decision instead of taking what was left over. Make the decision for you. And I don't trust the goaltender. I don't trust the Devils selecting any type of goaltender to bring in the offseason, but I do trust the Devils with drafting. The Devils seem to get drafting correct. It's the one positive we've seen out of the last, probably since Nico was drafted. The Devils have been pretty solid at drafting. That's about all that they've been really solid at.
Even with Ty Smith?
The story's not sold on that one, bud. Because he had a bad year this year, but you've seen guys sophomore year slump, and then they bounce back, and they have they start to build a solid year after that. So at the end of next year, I think is when you can tell if Ty Smith is a good or a bad draft pick.
Yeah.
Because if he doesn't improve, then yeah.
He has to improve, but yeah, he had a horrific season. But I still think the Devils have been, pretty solid in their drafting over the last couple of years, and that's the one thing that they've gotten consistently correct, which is great. So whoever they do wind up going with, I just have all the faith in the world in that they'll get it right. Again, they can't bring in a solid goaltender to save their lives, but they can at least draft well. I just hope they don't draft a goalie, because then they're going to bring in whoever it is making the goaltending decisions into the conversation. It'll go all right to hell.
What do you think? Yeah, he's good. That's a cardboard cutout. You can't draft him.
Is it really Scott Clemenson? I know you keep bringing him up, Sammy, but is it?
Yeah, Shorts guy, it definitely is, because that whole Nico Dawes thing, when Fitzgerald was asked, what'd you see in this kid? He said it was actually Scott Clemenson that recommended him. So it's definitely, what?
The jury's out.
Yeah, but I honestly think that the goaltending situation is not as bad as what a lot of us think it is. That's just my opinion. Blackwood, this upcoming season, if he stays healthy, relatively healthy, and he performs. I mean, remember, it wasn't too long ago where he was vying for Team Canada's spot. Also, Nico Dawes, I'll tell you what, I thought the kid held his own, given the situation that he was put in. I thought he was better than Gillies and the Hamburglar.
Yeah.
And I thought the Hamburglar in certain situations actually looked phenomenal. Some of those difficult saves that he had to make, but he's not the goaltender of the future. So, I don't think, at the same time, I don't think the Devils are one goaltender away from making the playoffs. I think there's a lot more that needs to be done.
There's a lot more that needs to be done, but we need a solid goaltender, and that's a key thing, Sam.
Yeah, that's a pretty big piece of the puzzle.
But it is.
It's a corner piece.
That's a corner piece. This is not me being a homer about the position. This is, the Rangers. Let's use those dirtbags for an example right now. They have a team that came together behind a really solid goaltender, and Shesterkin has shown that the games that he doesn't play well, they're terrible.
Yeah, but
and
guys like Shesterkin are not a dime a dozen either. Go find
I know
them.
that.
Where are they? They're
know
not
that.
Exactly. And you got to give the Rangers credit for drafting goaltenders in later rounds, because that's where they've been finding them.
Yeah. Yeah, and they were able to transition from Lundqvist to Shesterkin, and it was a phenomenal transition. And we have not yet done our transition yet from Brodeur.
I think Shorts guy. That's it. Yep. See you later, Shorts guy. He's having internet
See ya,
problems.
buddy.
Sorry, folks. He's having internet problems. Optimum, also owned by the New York Rangers and that whole conglomerate. We'll just blame them. I have nothing else to say, Beer Baron. About. Sorry, I'm just
The draft or the
prospects?
No,
not the draft. About the goalie situation, because
we've beaten it to death.
I think a lot of it. I think a lot of it was Fitzgerald and these retreads that never came about with Crawford and Bernier.
And I think it was not so much of a reach to get these guys, because what he was looking to do is the correct thing to do. You're looking for an established, very well-rounded backup to Blackwood. So you would, in theory, you give Blackwood the reins. You tell him, like, all right, here you go. The net is yours. Let's see what you got. He goes out there and he plays, 5-6 in a row. then you don't have to worry about missing a beat with the team. You can keep the team rolling the way you keep the team rolling. You don't have to make major adjustments. You have a very competent backup come into the net and step in, give you 1 or 2 games to give Blackwood a little rest, and then Blackwood comes back, gives you another 5-6. So in theory, that's what's supposed to happen. You really want a very confident and strong backup to come in to spell your starter, to give him a break. Yes, I hate bringing up the Rangers, but their goaltending situation is perfect. You have Igor Stirkin, who is, yes, he is a great all-world goaltender, 100%. He might be top 5 in the league.
Kind of came out of
right
nowhere,
now.
if you think about it.
But you look at the Rangers, even when Lundqvist was there. You look at the Rangers' ability to find goaltenders. Antti Rantanen, what the hell is the guy that went to Edmonton and they kind of bounced around a little bit, but was always like a pretty capable
Cam Talbot.
Cam Talbot, there you go.
Yep.
And then you have Georgiev and Shesterkin. So you have right there 3 really decent goaltenders and then 1 unbelievable goaltender. So they're doing something right in their drafting process or their scouting ability to find that kind of goaltender that fits either the system or fits just the team or whatever. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
The problem is the Devils are finding, and listen, Nico Dawes showed real promise this year. And you got to remember, he's only, 20 years old? Or he might be 21 years old. He's really young. So Nico Dawes has a lot of potential to mold into something. Blackwood, I know there's a lot of people that want to give up on him. I'm not willing to give up on him just yet. I think you give him one. This is the last season. That leash has to be super short, because if he goes out there and he's having like a killer game and he follows it up with like one of those weird, I'm going to let in 4 goals on like 6 shots, and all of them are like, oh, that one went under my armpit. That was a 5-hole. Like when he has those weird, clunky games, you can't string those together. He's got to go out there and have a strong performance day in and day out. Now, the problem is if you bring him in and then you have Dawes as your backup, because Bernier is on the LTIR, right? So he's going to be out for a while. If you have him and Dawes, basically your 1A, 1B, you really need to make sure that the defense in front of them is another step up from where we're at. Graves, Hamilton healthy all year, that will help. Graves, Hamilton, Siegenthaler, we all know and we all saw what he did. Subban most likely not coming back, right? I think you would have heard a leak about that somewhere that he was coming back, but I doubt he's coming back. So you're either bringing up Riley Walsh, Ball, or Ahotyuk, and you're going to fill that gap of what Subban left. Whoever your defensive coach is needs to be able, and this needs to be able to, have a very strong foundation in front of whatever goaltender. Give the goaltender a little bit more confidence, whoever it is, if it's Dawes or if it's Blackwood. Then you start working from, it's like the old days. You start with the goaltender and you work your way out. But that kind of circles back to something we talked about a couple weeks ago.
And I think the Devils did it completely opposite in some respects.
100%. You have 2 all-star centers, and then you're kind of working backwards.
Yeah.
They need to get a good, and they need to get whoever the coach is going to be. If it's going to be rough next year, and he's coming in with a new staff, they need to structure the staff in a better way that's going to suit this team. Do you know what I mean? Like you need when Scott Stevens was the bench coach for the defense, you saw a great foundation for a great team. And you know what? I'm going to put it out there, and it's probably been said before. Bryce Salvador, as much as I love him on the MSG cast, as much as I love seeing him in between the benches, Bryce Salvador, I think, would make a hell of a defensive coach.
I think so.
Just my opinion.
I think so, and I think he's seen enough of the team, bird's eye view from where he's at with MSG, to know enough to find corrections. Plus, he blends that analytics in. He has a good feel for it, and also being a former player and captain also helps as well. I think that would be a good candidate. I don't think the Devils have made any moves yet, as far as we know. Or
they've been very quiet.
Yeah, and that's funny that they are quiet, because they are very strategically quiet, and they're very strategic when they make announcements nowadays. So they're probably up to something. It could be something really good. Can't speculate what it's going to be. I think they've been hyping up this second overall pick quite a bit, because there's a lot of intrigue about the other players aside from Shane Wright that could brings a team to make a bit of a trade to get that second overall. I'm not sure if the Devils, or if there are any teams willing to give up a lot to trade up, between the 3 to the 10, because I'm sure they have a lot of needs and necessities right now. And I just don't think there is a game-changing player in this draft, or generational, I should say. But
generational,
I think,
a game changer, yes, but generational, no.
Yeah. So, but I think the Devils, they have to, if they're going to draft on best available, regardless of positioning. But if the guy that they want is picked first overall, and they're not too keen on the rest, they could always flip the pick. But I don't think that's really going to happen. I think there are plenty of talented players in the top 5, and if you go back to 2017, the Nico versus Nolan. Well, sitting at number 4, Kel McCarr, he's doing pretty well right now.
Yeah, he's doing pretty damn well. 100%. Like, listen, I love Nico Hischier, and I think every Devils fan loves Nico Hischier. But you would also be absolutely bananas if they redrafted that class not to take McCarr number 1. 100% bananas. Like, listen, I love Nico. And listen, Nico, you see him growing, and you watch what he did in the Worlds after this, the season ended. You could see that he's starting to take this next big step. We're just really becoming that well-rounded two-way forward. McCarr is just something special. So that's just my opinion.
Yeah, well,
it's like the third time I've said
that. Just realize how much crap Nico Hischier, what he's been through, to get to where he is. Kel McCarr had the benefit of going to college, had the benefit of, taking the time to grow before he got to the NHL level. Whereas Nico Hischier was thrown into the spotlight on a very bad team, made it in the playoffs in his first year, courtesy of Taylor Hall's, MVP season. And there were a lot of ups and downs, mostly downs, but you see him, it's almost like Steve Yzerman when he came into the league, where it was just like, okay, but at a certain point, you learn and grow from it. And look at what Steve Yzerman was able to do, with the Red Wings. They were a bad team back in the 80s. And it wasn't until they drafted him that, it took a while for things to turn around. So, with Nico Hischier, it's hard to say, I see what you're saying with Kel McCarr, but, hindsight's 20/20 is what they say. And I think Nico Hischier, just like that, you guys, on Ty Smith, his script is still being written. We don't know what how he'll end up in hockey history or, with the Devils. But I can tell you one thing, his leadership is so invaluable that it's only a matter of time where, he's going to have everything, all together and put together. Because when the Devils are down 5-0, it's Nico Hischier that's like still fighting, and every once in a while scoring a goal or two.
Yeah,
to get them back in it.
The things that make me scratch my head about this team right now in their current situation is the firing the entire staff except for Lindy Ruff. That didn't make sense. Scratch my head. Not knowing what's going on with Jesper Bratt's contract. That's another one. Scratch your head. Like, what's going on? Like, why haven't they?
You haven't followed that burner account?
Which one? Which one?
Was it a Brat Pack or something like that?
Oh, I love that. The Brat Pack's the best. Huge shout out to the Brat Pack. If you don't follow them on Twitter, go ahead and follow them. They're awesome.
Yeah, they know everything. I'm telling you. You heard it here first.
I love it. They're funny too. Whoever runs that account is super funny. But how that hasn't been resolved yet, that's a head scratcher. Yeah, and then you look at there's so many little things with this team right now. Everything is real quiet. They put out the occasional video of like, oh, this is the prospects are answering questions about Mom's spaghetti. But what about other things like the TV announcer? Steve Cangelosi stepping away, which was a huge loss. We're going to miss Kanji terribly.
Oh, yeah.
And I hope whoever replaces him, has the chops to fill those shoes. He stepped in for, probably the greatest announcer in hockey history, and didn't just step in. He did a hell of a job. And anybody that, gave him grief, it was like, I wonder if he ever felt like Corey Schneider coming in after Brodeur, because it was like the same kind of feeling.
Wow.
You think about that. You think about it. And like he did that job so wonderfully, with grace, with dignity. He had some of my favorite calls, just his inflection in his voice. He had that when things get ramped up and you could feel the play, he would make you get up out of your seat because he would start to pick up his energy. So I don't think we addressed this, or I didn't address this because I've been off for a couple of weeks, but it's a huge, huge loss, but they haven't addressed that. They haven't said, one thing, maybe they're waiting for somebody like Don LaGreca, who I would love to come back. I don't care what anybody else says. If you're it's a terrible idea, you could kick rocks. I would love Don LaGreca, who also has an open invitation to this podcast, who told us he will do it one day. Don LaGreca to come.
Did we?
We sort of did, but the scheduling doesn't work out, and I understood that. But he, let's not forget, he grew up a Devils fan, has a tattoo of the Devils with a Stanley Cup on his leg, I believe, and I think he would be a perfect fit for the team. And you want to talk about passion? He wears it on a sleeve. That's what this team needs. We need passion. But anyways, going back to my point of all these things being so quiet, the thing that sucks is like the speculation, because as a fan, all we could do is sit back and think like, oh, they're doing something. They're brewing something. There's something big going on. There has to be, because there's no transparency right now. There's all closed doors. You don't really hear a lot about what's going on. So they have to be working on something big. Or they could,
like I said, they're strategic. They're very strategic in how they do things. And the quieter that they get, the more anxious I get, because I know something's going to happen. And it's going to come at you in a very controlled message once they're ready to release it. Just kind of like the third jersey.
Like the third jersey, like, yes. I was going to say the same thing. Like, oh, they'll leak it. It got leaked by somebody accidentally. Boom, boom. Yeah, come on. Like, we're a bunch of morons. Like you what you did is you're testing the water. You wanted to see what the internet reaction was going to be. And then once it accidentally got leaked, you're like, "Oh man, I can't believe that happened." But what is everybody saying? Like we're not stupid. But
maybe I should post a picture of Don LaGreca on my Twitter account, and then fans are like, "What? You know something? You know something?"
No, you know something? Because you get all the losers.
Rat Pack would know him.
Heck yeah, dude. They probably do. But you get a lot of people, and this is the thing too, is this fan base, and we've said this before, is so divided right now. and so negative and so tired of getting kicked while we're down. You know, I think there's teams that have had way worse luck than we do. Toronto, Ottawa.
We could be the Arizona Coyotes, where they can't even pay their tax bill. I mean,
yeah, or
it could be. It could be worse.
At least they're allowed to put the logo on the center ice, which for a little while Arizona State was like, no, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Could you imagine? First of all, you have a how is this like? I don't think we've talked about this enough, and I'm sorry to step away from the Devils, but this is a big subject. How the hell is there a professional sports team? It's not going to be just for one season. I think it's for a couple seasons. Are going to be playing in an arena with a capacity of 5,000. 5,000. How is this even? It's not like you're getting a brand new stadium and things are being renovated, and it's like, oh, there's a hole in the ceiling in Nassau Coliseum, so we have to go play, or wherever. You can't play in your own arena because the state hates your guts. This is like that. This is like that boyfriend girlfriend that just keeps hanging around, and you're like, dude, no, it's over. It's over. I told you it's over. Like, no, we're broke up, and they're like, yeah, but I still got a toothbrush in your house. And it's like, no, you don't. I threw that away. Like, get away. Just go away. That's Arizona, and that clingy, weird girlfriend or boyfriend, whatever you want to look at it, is the Arizona Cardinals, Arizona Coyotes. And Bettman needs to just get, I know this was his dream for whatever weird reason to have a team in Arizona and Florida. And I was like, dude, get over it. Be smart. Relocate them back in Quebec. Get the Nordiques back in action.
I don't think it's going to happen.
Or bring them to Houston. Bring them somewhere. If you're going to keep
Austin
them in South,
Matthews back to Arizona.
He doesn't want to go there. He's from that state.
He probably knows.
Go there.
he probably knows. He's like,
he'll go there and they'll be like, Austin, we're going to give you a new contract. It's going to blow your mind. $100,000 a year, and you get coupons to the Jack in the Box.
Well, you remember what it was like when the Devils were, transitioning to Newark. The last 2 or 3 years at the Meadowlands, it was just like it was almost like, mom and dad going through a divorce and the kids are pawns in the whole. They made us park at Giant Stadium, ripped up our tailgating spot, building like it was one giant construction zone.
Yeah.
You can't park there, or you pay for parking at Giant Stadium. And then when you park there, they tell you
8 miles to get to the arena.
No, then they say, no, you're not allowed to park there, and then make you re-enter to pay again. To park another side. Yeah, the scams that they would pull at the Meadowlands. It was just all because the Devils were leaving. It was like for 2 or 3 year period. It was kind of bad, actually. If you think
I was at the last game at the Meadowlands, and I remember walking out of the building, and I'm just like looking back at it, and I'm like, wow, man, I can't believe they're not going to be here anymore, and how many great memories and this, that, and the other thing. And then we went to the Rock, and it was like amazing. You're like, whoa, this is what happens when you want to like put money into a team. They even put the logo on top of the urinal. How about that?
Yeah.
So it was like incredible. But then like the metal, like what breaks my heart about the Prudential Center is it has so much potential still because it's not at its full potential.
Yeah. No,
the area around it has so much potential, and it's not at the potential. You go outside in front of the stadium, and when that place first opened, they had that crazy-looking LED screen on the front of the building. And I'll never forget the 2012 Stanley Cup, finals and playoffs. Like, you'd walk up, and they'd have like all this cool stuff on there, and it was like bump, and the place was amazing. That screen doesn't work anymore, or it broke. And instead of removing it or fixing it, they just leave this big, dumb-looking thing on the side of the building. And it's just like it's you see somebody with a brand new car. No, it hasn't worked in years. Next time you go to
Really?
a game, 100% doesn't work. And if anybody that's been to a game in the last couple of years, I don't think it's worked in like the last 4 or 5 years.
Really?
I'm pretty darn sure about that.
You know why I probably don't even notice? Because I'm always going to Taj Lounge 973, so I go in the back way on Broad Street, and then I cut into Edison. So I don't really go through that area. Just a shameless plug.
Heck yeah. But I just, there's certain things about the building that could be revamped. We've talked about this. We've talked about like the things with ownership that just drive us crazy. It's like the disconnect. There's a disconnect between ownership and the fans. There's a disconnect between like certain things, and I just hope that if they can get this, let's go circle all the way back. If they get the pick at number 2 correct, and this team next year is competitive and maybe makes a push for a playoff spot, and then the following year they make it to the playoffs, and then all of a sudden you start to see that winning culture coming back to the Devils, you better not be walking into a building that's half broken. You know, it's like having a brand new car and the taillight goes out and you're like, man, I'm not going to fix it. I'm just going to let it go. And then you get somebody hits you and the bumper's kind of falling off and you're like, whatever. It's still brand new. I'm not going to fix it. That's what it feels like. You had a brand new car. And you're just letting it fall apart. I'm not going to change the oil. What's that smell? Who cares? Like, whatever.
It's like kicking the can down the road.
100%. It's like, fix it. Make it better.
They need, what they really need at the Prudential Center? A better cleaning crew. Because some of the the bathrooms are disgusting. A better fan you go to
experience.
You go to a concert, there's no paper towels. Okay. 2 games later, there's no paper towels at the same bathroom. There's ketchup stains that have been there for the last 5 years, like under my seat.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true. They just need to take care of take care of your house, man. Clean up your house.
Just maintenance.
Clean up the house. Clean it up. You fix it up. Get everything back in order. And don't give me this like, well, you got the Grammys live downstairs. You have these other tenants that can help like pay the bills. You know what I mean? So it's not like it's just all on the Prudential Center to be like, oh, you. But I mean, I just. Everything about this team needs to be fixed, and watching the Rangers go on a run that they're going on right now, it like digs that dagger so much deeper because you're like, this could have been us. We started rebuilding around the same time they did. Yeah, they got great hits on the goaltending.
They got the letter. At least
they got the letter. They sent everybody the letter. But they got lucky with Adam Fox. That's 100%. Because he should have been in Carolina, but he walked away from Carolina. He didn't sign he basically did what Butcher did. But they got Adam Fox. We got Butcher, and that's how like the rebuilds went. It's like they got the Fox of it. We got the Butcher, so I don't know. I hope this number 2, whoever it is, Safkovsky, Wright, Cooley. Oh man, put me on the spot. Whoever it ends up being, I pray that it's in the right direction. And I know Shorts Guy said it before, like they seem to be doing a good job drafting. And yeah, they've hit on a few things like in the recent drafts. But there's still a lot to be desired with this team from top to bottom. Front office, cleaning crews, everything.
I'm telling you, the bathrooms are disgusting at the arena at times. I mean, we could do a whole podcast on this.
And then seeing Dino DNA and seeing Dino Barbecue go out of business was super sad. I know COVID had a lot to do with a lot of that stuff, but like they need to just invest in this area. Like they need to make the whole idea.
Well, they say they are. They say they are. They're investing. Oh, I know it is, but like they're investing in Newark businesses, so to speak. So when I asked Taj, they're like, "Have you ever talked to the Devils?" No, they've never approached us. It's like, But you're across the street. Like nothing? Like nada?
They should have a partnership and a piece if they're smart about it, and a piece of all those bars over there. Like Wrigleyville. Yeah. You look at you go to a Cubs game and a whole like Wrigleyville thing out there. I'm pretty sure that the Cubs have a little bit of action and all that stuff out there. You go outside of Fenway Park. You go outside of a lot of these arenas, and there's things that you have events for the teams. The team's branding is everywhere. It's in your face. It's constantly like, not just like a bartender wearing a Devils shirt. It's like all the bartenders are wearing Devils jerseys. Like the whole that whole little strip up and down can still have their own identities. Each bar can still have their own menu, their own drink specials, their own beer, their own way of serving beer. Because I know Reds has those gigantic beers, which are amazing. Yep. But each place can have its own identity, but it should still be like you're walking down this alley, you're going into a Devil's bar, no matter which one it is. And it doesn't have to be that way year round, but during game day, it should be like, all right, we've invested into you guys. Here's a new sound system. Here's a this or here's a that. Now, when it comes to game day, all your TVs are on us. We're having pregame. Dano and whoever, Don LaGreca, are having a pregame at Reds or at Taj or at one of these bars, and then going across the street to the actual game. Invest in the area and make it a fan-friendly place. At one point, the Prudential Center was a great place to go with your friends and your family because it felt fun to be there. I remember like when my friend's daughter was born, they had like all these really cool areas for the kids to be. And I feel like they lost a lot of that. Yeah, the team has sucked and we've lost in fan base, and like COVID had a huge part of all of this, but they need to like refigure this out because it's a cold experience. When you go there, like, damn, dude, like it doesn't feel like how it used to be. Now it's just like you're going to a place to watch a hockey game. That's it.
Part of the reason, it's unfortunate part, is the Harrison Blitz are not Devils fans. They simply are not Devils fans. When you look at what the Mets have done with Steve Cohen, he does not care. The guy just spends. And I'm not saying that Harrison Blitz should just spend and bankrupt themselves, but they simply just don't have the passion. Their attention is divided amongst, well, it's kind of like having a family of 13. They've got a family of like probably a dozen in their sports portfolio, now going after the Denver Broncos. They try to go after the Mets. Thank goodness they didn't do that, finish the deal there, because I wouldn't know what to do with myself, because I know what the end result would be. Cut, sell the fans a bunch of goods that, sell them the future that's never really going to happen. And, voila, we'll make a couple bucks here. And just like any other hedge fund, they'll flip it. And they put a lot of, analytics in it because they, in their day job, they do a lot of numbers. And a lot of the same skill set is applied with sports scouting. But they haven't been 100% with it. But I think they are getting better. Getting better with it. I will admit that because,
it's also the small things, dude. It's like, not to say like you need to have a giveaway at every single game. You get a bobblehead now from a Devils game, and it's like this big. It's like this tiny little bobblehead. As compared to like a couple of years ago, you would get like a pretty decent sized bobblehead. And I understand. Listen. Half of those things end up in the garbage. Half of them, a quarter of them end up on eBay, and then maybe a quarter of them go home with real fans who actually like want to appreciate them and do whatever. But those little things go such a long way. These little giveaways, these little things, these little contests, all that kind of stuff goes such a long way. And I don't know if maybe we're bitter and we don't see the fan experience like it used to be because we're just bitter with the product on the ice. because I'm pretty sure there's probably people out there that would, counterpoint everything that we're saying or everything that I'm saying, and be like, I have a great time.
Well,
my kids go here and go there.
I'll give you an example. Talked to David Decker. I don't know if I should be mentioning this, but he said that, remember when they selected Jack Hughes? It was him and Hardline Betty went in. They, their pictures are all over the place, holding up signs about Hughes.
Mm-hmm.
What I didn't know about it was they tried to take away those signs and told them not, to leave at the car or leave at the garbage can. And they had to beg to bring their own signs to a draft day event. Why are you, what's the resistance? Is it because your marketing team didn't think of the clever stuff because you don't own it? And I think that's part of my gripe. I have a lot of gripes with the team, but there are, when they do things well, I do compliment them. But what they've done, just like any hedge fund would do when they buy a team, they hollow it out. There's no soul left. All you have is an outer shell of what it was. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm hoping that that's not true, but I just honestly, my heart truly believes that Tom Fitzgerald knows what he's doing, but they don't have that it factor with this ownership group because their whole mindset really is what they're trying to do with their big portfolio. I don't know where they're going to go. Why? Obviously, it's to make money. That's obvious. But with this, with the Devils, and I want to stay positive here. I just hope they follow through because a couple things is going to be a big problem if the Rangers win the Cup. And I'm starting to see this in younger kids. They're following that team because that team actually wins.
Yeah. But that's what happens.
All the seeds you planted years ago, really will not germinate, and you've lost a whole generation. You went nearly 10 years without, one lucky year making the playoffs, and the ownership group bought this in 2013. So in 2023 will be their 10-year anniversary of actually owning this team. If the Rangers win the Cup, I expect an apology letter, but it's never going to happen. I want an apology letter that we screwed up. We should have done this, because honestly, the amount of money we spend at that arena, it's getting harder and harder and harder to do. You could do all the fancy stuff, fancy schmancy stuff, the online gimmicks, the third jersey gimmick as well. That's what I think it is. Difference of opinion. If fans like the jersey, to each their own. I'm not going to judge you on that. But, it's just the way that was rolled out. Yeah, the losing started. That doesn't help, but you can't hold that against the marketing team. But it's just everything, I don't know. It's just, if the Rangers win it, it's like somebody needs to be held accountable. Because how can they do it at the same time and actually get things done? I mean, if James Dolan can do it, that's how bad, they are. I don't know.
Well, so that you bring up a solid point about something that I've been talking about one of my friends about this. So what's going to happen is what happens with every sport. It's why you see kids walking around with Steph Curry jerseys on, because nobody out here was a Golden State Warrior fan before they started winning. No, maybe a handful of people. If you surveyed 200 people from New Jersey and you were like, before they started winning, do you like the Golden State Warriors? Maybe 5 would be like, yeah, that's my team. And 3 of them are like, I'm actually from San Francisco. And you'd be like, oh, okay.
Yep.
They start winning. You have that same survey, of like 200 random kids and be like, what's your favorite, NBA team? They'd be like Golden State. And it would be like 197 of them would say Golden State. It's what happens. And now what's going to happen if the Rangers go on and win the cup, even right now, the run that they're on, they just converted a lot of people to be a Ranger fan. A lot.
And we're going to have to deal with these jerks in the future at the Prudential Center.
We do 100%.
But when you yell at that 8-year-old Ranger fan, we're trying to set the get them young while they're young.
It's just, but that's the reality of what the Devils are facing. You're like, if you don't take this seriously, you will start losing fans because they lost a bunch of fans to the Islanders the last couple of years. A lot of kids were walking around with crispy Islander jerseys on the last couple of years because of what they were doing. And now I start seeing those brand new Ranger blue hats with the sticker still on the front from lids. All these kids are walking around with that stuff. And it's because this is what happens. Winning breeds new fans.
Yep.
If you're not winning, you're going to have the diehards. And guess what's going to happen too? You're going to start losing people that are diehards of this team that don't live in the state. You're going to lose a guy that lives in Colorado who's always been a borderline Avalanche fan, but grew up a diehard Devils fan. He's going to be like, you know what, screw this. I'm tired of being disappointed. I'm just going to start watching.
And that's where, and it's funny that you say you made that Steph Curry comparison because, most of the Devils executives came from the NBA side when they bought the team. Everybody was from the NBA, through the Sixers or through another team on the NBA. Hugh Weber came through the Pelicans, and a couple other people came from the NBA PR, communications, whatever. And that's part of why I think they created this jersey, that third jersey, because when you have a Devils logo, it's very hockey fan, New Jersey Devils hockey fan. But when you put jersey on it, you could have that uniform sold at a place in Nevada or San Francisco or whatever. And they were hoping, okay, we can find new non-traditional revenues and like that Steph Curry model. I think that's what they were trying to do. I don't know. I'm not a marketing genius or whatever, but it just seemed. But the point is, nothing ever seems very genuine with this ownership group. It's all strategic, like what we were saying. It's all whatever. And again, I don't want to be like Mr. Negative here, but the reality is that's what we're facing right now as Devils fans. The Rangers, God forbid they win it, which they're not too far off. They're 6 victories away right now of winning it. It could be, this is from a fan's point of view, it could be hell going to the Rock, knowing that there's a new influx of jerks.
It already is. It's already, dude. One of the last games that the Devils played the Rangers, I remember I took a screenshot of the game because I was watching the game on my phone because my cable company won't even show the Devils, let alone the Rangers. At least we're in the same boat with that one. But I'm watching the game on my phone, and I took a screenshot once I saw it was like 80% blue in that place. And I was like, this, and I'm listen, I used to be one of those guys that would go to a game. I don't care who they're playing. It could be the Rangers, the Flyers. I'd go like, we'd get into arguments with people, go toe to toe with people. I don't have the stomach for it anymore. I don't want to go to a Devils Rangers game right now because I just like the younger me, pre-wife and pre-kids and career, would have been like, you know what, F you and F this and blah, 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 and let's fight over hockey. Now I'm like, I'm too old. I have a job that I can't afford to screw around with. I have 2 kids at home. I have a wife who I love dearly. I'm not going to be an idiot and go to a Rangers-Devils game and get into a
We
fist
just
fight
don't
with
want to get arrested.
some moron. I don't want to get arrested. Or get,
don't want to
like,
be in the
knocked
mobile
out
command
and
center.
end up like a vegetable. Yeah, like, I don't want something stupid to happen. And the point being is, like, I just don't want to listen to it. I don't want to go to a Devils game and know that they're going to get blown out by the Rangers and listen to the fans chant. And yes, Rangers, we know your goal song is way superior to our goal song. I hate our goal song.
I hate our goal song.
I hate it.
I hate it.
I've never been a Gaslight Anthem fan. I'm sorry if you are.
I hate
I'm sorry for the. I hate it so much. I hate it. I hate the "you suck." I'm over it. Can we grow up? We've sucked for so long. Don't do the "you suck." It's stupid. It's like, oh, you suck. Like, okay, cool. Like, enough. Can we get like a good goal song? Like, at least the Rangers, I hate to admit it, their goal song is awesome. Like, and it gets the whole crowd like going, and you can like you feel the goal song, and you're like, oh, because I'll tell you what, as a fan of the other team, when they score, it sucks to hear that song. That's how it should be. You think anybody cares that, like, we say "you suck" when we're down 8-4 or 8-1? Like, seriously, blow it out your nose.
There. You make a good point there. Right?
Nothing drives me crazy. Like, when the team is terrible and we're losing like 4-0, and it's the middle or end of the third, and the Devils score, and it's like, oh, you suck. And I'm like, no, just don't do it. Don't say "you suck." Don't say the "you suck" part, please. Ugh, I mean,
personally, I'm indifferent. I really don't care, about all that kind of stuff. It's just, that whole thing with the goal song, the phony voting system that they had, because from what I heard from people that were employed by the Devils, it was, and I'm not trying to get in a debate here, 90% of the write-ins and 90% of were for the Gary Glitter song. Nobody asked us. Nobody ever asked us. Like, they changed the goal song.
Yeah, but I understand why. Gary Glitter's a horrible human being.
But that's not what I'm talking about. They never asked us because that first night it was a Bon Jovi song. This is our house. And everyone was like, WTF. What the hell is this? That first night, that's the point I'm trying to make. The Gary Glitter thing, that's another story. But they never asked us. And when they did ask us, that voting was rigged. That's what I heard inside.
Oh, it always is. It always is.
Of course it is.
It always is.
I never trusted those polls, because it's all go ahead.
Yeah, by the way, Hip Hop Hooray by Naughty by Nature should have been a goal song.
Should have been.
Oh, that would have been so much better than the Gaslight Anthem song. And I get it. Gaslight Anthem from New Jersey, blah, 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 blah. Whatever. But, I mean, there's other bands and there's other songs that come from the state that, My Chemical Romance has a bunch of songs that they could have probably used. And they did use it for that intro with the Black Parade, which I thought was actually pretty cool.
Lords of the Underground, Newark rap group. Hip-hop.
Yeah. I mean, we could go many places to this.
Oh yeah, you could go with Alicia Keys. I don't know. I'm just Whitney Houston. You could go with a lot of.
Yeah, I want to dance with somebody.
That would. I'll tell you what.
How funny would that be if that was the goal song
right now?
Every time they song, I want to dance with somebody. I want to feel the heat of somebody. And I mean, the first time that was.
I'll tell you what, it will work. It works better than the Gaslight Anthem. Are you listening?
And somebody
marketing people.
Somebody would still find a way to put "you suck" in it. I want to dance with somebody. You suck. I want to feel the heat of somebody. You suck.
It doesn't matter. It's like once you figure out the cadence, boom, it's done. It doesn't matter what song. because that was the excuse early on was the Gary Glitter. It's because they couldn't believe
it up. Yeah,
they couldn't believe how organized and unrestricted we were when we yelled "You suck" during the preseason of 2013, and then they changed it on the first night, and it was just like nobody asked us.
Yeah,
But Shane Van Sickle says, I have friends who are saying that they are Ranger fans. They know absolutely nothing about the team, not a thing. Don't even know Mike Richter, 100% fraud fan base. Of course.
That's what happens with anybody that wins.
Yeah.
But not just the Rangers, because I'm not going to just lump them into that group. If you went down to Tampa Bay and you went to a Tampa Bay Lightning game, you would be like, I love the Tampa Bay Lightning are great. Oh, I love hockey so much. And it'd be like, oh, when did you become a fan? Like, who do you know? Do you know Vincent Lecavalier or Martin St. Louis? And they'll be like, I've been to St. Louis once or twice. You know what I mean? But that's everywhere. That Steph Curry analogy that I was saying before, it's so true across sports. Yeah. Like, listen, I grew up a Yankee fan because I had no choice. It was a religion in my household. Yankees, Yankees, Giants, and Devils. So like I had no choice in my fandom. I was kind of given it at birth. And I'll never forget in the 80s, the Yankees were horrible. You had Don Mattingly. Yeah, Steve Balboni. You had Don Mattingly to look up to. And, for a brief time, you had Dave Winfield to look up to. Yep. But then you had, you had the Danny Tartables of the world, and you had the Mel Halls, and
Scott Sanderson,
Jesse Barfields, and Alvaro Espinozas. I can keep going.
Lee Gooderman.
I have, Steve Howe blowing lines of coke off the mound. So you had these teams that were just god awful, but then when the Yankees started winning, and I remember vividly as a kid, I'm turning 40 this year, so I was born in '82. So I remember vividly as a kid going to Yankee games, and we had seats up on the upper deck, and they would like move everybody down and put you into like basically behind home plate to make it look like the stadium had more people in it. But once they started winning, people came out of the woodwork, and they were, Derek Jeter, oh, I love it, oh my God, and they became insufferable, and that's what's going to happen. And then, like, as a Yankee fan, I would be like, oh, and it kind of like turned me off to baseball because it's like, whatever, and it's a long story, but my point being is, yes, it is going to happen to the Rangers, even on the run they're on right now, because I like it or not, ladies and gentlemen, I hate to break the news, and if you're not aware, then you need to wake up. You need to be woke about this. The Rangers are going to be good for the next 10 years. They're just going to be good. The Capitals are on a decline. The Penguins are on a decline. If the Rangers stay healthy and if they can keep the core of their team together, and if Shesterkin can play the way he plays, they're going to be a contender every single year. You have to deal with that fact. You can only hope that them winning helps spark the Devils to light a fire underneath management's ass and be like, oh, look at how much money they made. Look at what they're doing. Like, oh, we could do that too as long as we get everything together.
Well, just remember one thing, because, I worked in New York years ago. When you go to Madison Square Garden, Rangers or Knicks, it's all about sucking up to your boss.
Oh,
and I think a lot of the crowds there, it's very corporate, and half of them keep that Rangers jerseys in their closet, not because they follow the team, it's because they have to go. But yeah, they are Ranger fans, but they're not. They're very, very, very casual, but they act obnoxious because they better. When you're in that luxury suite. If you're not cheering on, it's not a good look, So,
and if the Devils were winning, if the Devils were doing what the Rangers are doing right now, you would be going to the Rock and you would be finding fans that haven't put on their jersey in over 10 years. You would find kids that are, 8 years old who are wearing a Jack Hughes jersey and a Nico Hischier jersey, it would be the same thing. It's just how sports are, especially in the tri-state area. This area is notorious for it. It's you will gain. Listen, they will gain a ton of fans, and maybe it will be like 94, 95. Maybe the Devils can start to turn that corner again, like we did the last time. But they have a lot of work to do.
I think the ownership group, they're probably going to be up to something. I think they're going to start their own regional sports network.
Hey, good for them. As long as they can watch it on my damn TV.
And make a lot of money and then flip, and then whoever the next owner is, hopefully they're a Devils fan, and they'll start focusing more on the team. But that's just me. All right, so final thoughts, Beer Baron?
Oh boy, final thoughts. I have to say, I just hope that whatever they end up doing in this draft, that they get this right and they get to the point where the team is relevant again. We can't state it enough. I hope somebody from the organization listens to what we're saying and not just like, oh, these are guys that are complaining, because I would like to think that for the most part, we voiced the opinion of most frustrated Devil fans. And we're kind of tired of the way things are, and there needs to be change. There needs to be some kind of like restructuring of a lot of different aspects of this team from the top to the bottom. I think we touched on all of it tonight, in the arena, out of the arena, on the team, on the ice, behind the bench, wherever. There needs to be a serious retooling across the board. And I just hope that they start to do it sooner than later.
Well, final thoughts on my end. This podcast was supposed to be the 2022 NHL Combines 96
It never
prospects.
ends up. This is why you never should put a label on anything. It never ends up going that way.
Yeah. Should have been another bitch fest. But no, anyway. My thoughts are, look, the second overall pick is with New Jersey. I trust Tom Fitzgerald. We've said our piece about, how we feel about upper management, some of the experiences and marketing, whatever. But the bottom line is they're doing their homework right now. Some of these prospects look pretty good. It should be interesting how things will end up on July 7th, and we'll bring it to you. We'll bring it to you. So, but I just want to thank all those watching, viewing us, dropping the podcast at midnight. Look out for that for your morning, afternoon commute. We'll talk more about the NHL Combine, the prospects, the meetings that are happening this week. State of the Fan Address, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Well, Beer Baron, so long. So long to everybody. Till next time, let's go Devils.